do that. So Ersel's talking a little bit about the move to the Big Rock house in 1930, and Betty Lou was born in September, and they moved in March. In March of 1930 they moved, and Betty Lou was born later that year.
January of 1930.
So that they moved there from the place across from the Buck School, but the farm, the ground wasn't very good. They lived there from 1930 to 1935, but tell me about the ground.
The ground was, the farm was clay, plus the noxious weeds.
So it was just a constant headache.
Yeah.
So you moved from there. Where did you move to?
We moved up Township Road up near the foothills. There's two irrigating canals, and our house was between the two canals.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And the ground was better there?
Oh, sandy loam.
Oh, so that was much better.
Yeah.
None of the morning glory problem?
No.
And that was about 220 acres?
Yeah. Plus 90, plus
Plus
I think it was 90 acres of sagebrush land. It was pasture land.
So you
we
had,
call it pasture land.
Did you have a cow or cattle?
Yeah,
Or?
well, we fenced.
Okay.
We had a fence, and yeah, the cows stayed up there.
How many cows did you have up there? Do you remember? 2 or 3 or?
Well, more than that. My dad always, I always ask him, how in the devil did you ever work it? He always managed to have 3 cows for each one of us boys, 3 boys.
Oh.
3 boys, 3 cows, each of us to milk. How did you ever figure it? Well, it's the way the ball bounces, he'd say. My dad was he go to town in his spare time, played cards. Not gambling, just played. I don't know what he would call it, pan, he called it. My mother didn't like it, but that was his pastime, and he was a good farmer. Had good friends and everything, but I never heard my dad complain. He always had chores for us. Now Saturdays, I don't know how Wendell, the oldest brother, he was the boss. Okay, we hook up the horses to the wagon and fix fence, because we had cows to pasture, plus the horses. We turned the horses loose too in the pasture. But he always managed to have, well, the cows. When you had cows, you know, you gotta
milk them.
You gotta milk them. Plus, you have some dry, and some the younger ones. You always got calves and stuff that grow up, and you gotta. We always managed to butcher a calf, heifer. They're along about in February for eating. And we had pigs. We always managed to butcher a couple of pigs. You hadn't to worry about food. We had
chickens. And
we had the chicken coop.
And geese, maybe.
Yeah, we had geese, but the doggone geese. I got to tell you this one here. My mother had chickens. You used to take a hen nips. What do they call them? Anyway, he set these goose eggs underneath this old hen that was whatever they call it. I forget what they call it again now in there.
So the chicken would keep the.
Yeah, she sit on them and takes, what did they say, 27, 28 days for goose eggs to hatch.
Yeah, they call it. There's a name.
She raised these chickens. This old hen got up, and the old hen watches them there, and they click, 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 and them. If she takes them down with a canal, these little geese are pretty good size. They get in their water. They get in there, swim in the water. Must they want? And this old hen, never forget. My mother used to go out there, and this old hen was just a clucking and running back and forth. And her babies are in that water. But the chicken ain't gonna get in the water. That was kind of cute.
So she hatched the chicken or the geese, and she treated them like her own kids. That's kind of funny. let's see. You mentioned the brickyard. You worked there in the summertime for a couple, 2-3 years.
I worked there until I was, then I went in the mine. I left there and went up in the coal mine. That paid more money.
The brickyard, you were driving a truck hauling bricks to Pocatello.
Well, that was the latter part.
The first part, you were driving the Caterpillar for a while.
Yeah.
How did you like driving that thing? Was it a good thing to drive, or?
Oh yeah, Caterpillar. They had a bucket in front, and we'd go out and get the clay and bring it in there and dump it, see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and your friend got you a job up at the mine, is that right?
Coal mine, Blind Bull coal mine.
Blind Bull coal mine.
Yeah,
And then you got a job for Emory,
yeah.
and there were about 50 people working there. You worked there one season, and then the war started. Is that how that worked? Okay. You talked a little bit about the heaterola, the stove that uses either coal or wood. Whose responsibility was it to stoke the stove?
Took turns.
Whoever wanted to get
Us
warm.
kids, my granddad Egan, during the Depression, we lived up on the hill there, up their way. My granddad, we start off with, we go up and haul quaking ass trees down. And one year we had 13 loads.
Oh boy.
And my granddad come down and stayed there all summer because lived with us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He was older. I don't know how old he was.
What was his name?
Erastus Egan.
Erastus Howard Egan? Mm-hmm. He was the one that he limped, didn't he?
He, more than that,
Hmm.
he only had one hip.
Hmm.
He got in a runaway or something. And he had one eye put out.
Hmm.
He only had one eye going. And his arms, I don't know, he
In
just
bad shape.
wore himself. He's like Emory.
Hmm.
He just wore himself out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he farmed the whole farm up there, and he lived with Leonard, and he gave the farm to Leonard, see.
I see.
Leonard was the youngest boy. So that big old rock house is still up there.
You talked a little bit about the wheat trading for flour. You'd fill the burlap sacks. Was it 10 bags of wheat trade?
I think my dad would take down 10 bags of wheat
Mm-hmm.
and bring back I may be wrong on this, 5 sacks of flour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that the flour I believe them bags are probably 50 pounds.
I see. Okay, and you talked about your mom made bread twice a week, and she had a 2-quart bottle of yeast starter,
Yeah.
and they were careful to keep that going.
You always keep your starter going. You always keep your potato, you boil potatoes
Mm-hmm.
and keep the juice off of the boiled potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
sap or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
You put a little bit of sugar in this here, in this 2-quart
Mm-hmm.
jar, and you could see it working. You had to work overnight
Mm-hmm.
or all day or something.
Yeah.
Then you make your flour while you use that yeast, and you always save a little bit for a starter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. You talked a little bit about Wendell being allergic to cats,
Yeah.
and that was probably a bigger problem than any kind of a cancerous problem.
Yeah. But see, Lucille, Wendell's wife, Wendell was sick on account of this allergy. I know darn well.
Mm-hmm.
But Lucille was kind of running the show, and Wendell had one boy,
Mm-hmm.
and Lucille had a boy, and he got killed. So all they had was Butch. But she had a couple of, I don't know, even nieces. They were distant relatives, but
Mm-hmm.
I met the 2 of them. There was 2 of them. They were teenage girls then, but they were, Lucille wasn't close to them. But irregardless, when she got sick after Wendell died, well, then she signed one of these girls over, and that girl went in and took all the papers in the house and burned them.
Oh.
I know that's what happened because Wendell had everything all set up for Butch.
Mm-hmm.
And she burned everything and done away with them, all the papers and stuff, and they had the house there. That was the end of it. Butch got nothing.
Oh, my
This
goodness.
girl, they sold the house over to Morro Bay, $450,000.
Wow.
That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then their savings. Wendell had 5 houses at one time. He ended up to do away with income taxes. He'd sell a house a year
Mm-hmm.
till he got rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that bunny Wendell was real thrifty.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But when he died, this niece of Lucille's,
Mm.
and she put Lucille in the care center.
Mm.
She just takes everything.
Wow.
Butch went in to had him a lawyer to get his share, and she done something, and she gets a hold of another lawyer and gonna sue Butch. That's Wendell's son.
Wow.
So Wendell's son got nothing.
Where is Wendell's son now?
He's bound in what's this place in Missouri?
Branson?
Nauvoo, Branson, Missouri.
He's in Branson. 'Cause I knew he was in Tehachapi, California for a while.
Yeah, he was. He worked on the railroad, had a good job,
Mm-hmm.
and he was married.
Mm-hmm.
He was married twice.
Does he ever get in touch with you? Do you hear from him?
He calls Emery once in a while. I haven't heard from him.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do?
Maybe he talks to Cinda once
He
in a
was
while.
married and had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The one, his wife,
Mm-hmm.
went to work in a mortuary,
Oh. Mm-hmm.
and ended up this guy had 2 mortuaries, and she got the full thing as a mortician, or
Mm-hmm.
what do you call them?
Mm-hmm.
And she run one, and then he died, and she got both of them
Oh.
in Bakersfield. Or
Hmm.
she's still alive, I guess. Nice lady, I met her, but
That's
Uh,
Butch's wife?
yeah, they divorced.
Oh, he divorced her.
Yeah, Butch worked on the railroad, and he's on the go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kind of hard on the marriage.
maintain the, and then he moved up on the hill, up that
Tehachapi.
Tehachapi,
Mm-hmm.
and he married this gal here, and I guess he didn't have too much to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
But after he retired in the railroad, he kind of in charge of the
Yeah.
ground crew.
Yeah. They fixed the track.
Had a good job,
Mm-hmm.
but he retired, and he got rid of her after he found out what she'd been hanging in the bird joint and every other darn thing. To what
Oh.
I hear,
Oh boy.
he's pretty close to Emery. He
Hmm.
used to come out and see Emery quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he divorced her. Then he moved back to Branson,
Mm-hmm.
and he moved about 6-7 miles out of Branson. See,
Okay.
and somewhere or other out, she found out about where he lived. He kept it quiet. See,
Mm-hmm.
how she found out, he didn't know. But she come back and she would change, and she would do this, and she would change and be this and to him, and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to go back. They got divorced. See, she
Mhm.
wanted to go back and remarry, and nothing doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still back there, as far as I know.
Okay. If you